Stage 1 of Handgun Brutality. This is the starter drill. It's a version of it. There's a VTAC barricade there. You have to go back and forth with the kettlebell all the way from one box to the other. And in between each, you have to get one shot, one hit through each of the holes in the barricade. You could get a total of 6 hits using a different hole in that VTAC barricade for each shot. I am running my sub 2000 from Caltech. Got a red dot up there. It's a pretty decent gun. I've had a pretty good time with it at this event. And one of the things of note, I am not running any tactical gear. I am just using pockets. It's not really a problem. You can just stick a magazine in your pocket. It's fine. You don't really need that much fancy stuff. Sure, cool mag pouches are handy.
You got it.
They can be a bit faster, but it's not that big a deal. And really, it's my level of skill and ability to actually hit a target quickly matters way more than the fact that I just have a magazine stuck in my pockets.
Good. Good. Port 5. 5 of 6. Hit. Come on, you can do this. You got the time. Do it.
So close.
Port 6, Daddy. Hit. Unload and show clear.
Time?
164.15.
16415.
I'm glad we moved this to 180. Yeah. You wouldn't have made it. All right.
Shooter, are you ready?
Alright, this is my partner's run. Starter drill. Same stage as the one I did, of course. Same rules for it. They have been loaned a very, very nice 9mm AR. It's ultra lightweight, has a nice compensated barrel. It's a KP9 based one. It's been shaved down to have a shorter length of pole for shorter arm people. A really nice piece of kit. And definitely helped them. But there was some slowness because they're less familiar with the AR manual of arms. And they've been doing more practice lately with the Sub 2000. But I think it made up for that in the sense that it is fundamentally a better gun than that Caltech Sub 2000. But, of course, a lot more expensive since it is a absolute top-of-the-line gun.
In the box, nice. Hit. Very good. Good rolls. Different port, one of those slits. Hit! I was worried about that. Hit! Time.
Time.
Time. You're good. You're good.
Time.
Nope, nope.
Danielle.
Good. All right, time.
This next stage is the Terminator theme stage. So it's a relatively long distance stage, though you're pretty far from the target for a pistol shot, starting out at 75 yards there. Not really that hard with PCC. You are carrying a satchel full of pipe bombs, getting hits, a few of them, from each of these locations. Once you get up close enough, you have to grab the spare pipe bomb, throw it at a little knockdown target on the ground, and if you knock it down, cool. If not, you have to reacquire your gun, shoot the target instead. Very few people actually manage to hit it by throwing the pipe bomb, because it's kind of an awkward object that's not well designed for throwing, and you didn't really get to practice with it, and it doesn't really go where you expect it to go, and it bounces in weird angles. But that's fine. Caught up with the PCC pretty quickly, no problem.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three, four, five. Five. Require. Alright, if you are finished, unload and show clear.
I think you can figure it out.
All right, shooter, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Stand by. One, two, three, four. This right. 5. One, two, three, 4, 5. One, two, three, 4, 5. One, two, three, 4, 5. One, two, three, reload.
And hit the bolt release. Or do that.
4, 5. Time.
Almost made it. So
You
close.
almost had it. First fire. Are you ready?
All right. This is the time crisis stage. You have to start out without a magazine in your gun and shoot all the targets. But you only have 20 seconds from each shooting location. After 20 seconds expires, you have to move the other one and then have to reload, regardless of whether or not you really need to reload at that point. That classic time crisis thing. Reload, reload. And yes, people in the background keep saying it because no one ever gets tired of the joke. This is, of course, a stage that has a lot of weapon manipulation. And that was fine.
Move.
You can see here, even though I have all my magazines in my pockets, it's not really a problem yoinking the magazines out and reloading. Other than one time where I was a little bit slow in my shooting and I dropped one target. It only went quite well as a PCC run for me.
Move.
Beep's distracting.
Good. Just shoot down, unload, and show clear.
I thought about that, but then I know I'd screw it up on the, like, hit this and then I'd forget to go back.
And now we're going to see the effect of being handed the gun that, while a great gun you've never used before, you aren't as familiar with it, and the fully loaded magazines on a closed bolt are actually harder than a regular AR even, and also they don't have a lot of practice with ARs to begin with. They've only done 2 matches with an AR ever in their entire life. So they first had a missed feed, and then just slow all the weapon manipulation because they have not practiced running this particular gun. In this stage, you have to reload over and over and over again, which is a huge disadvantage if you're not practiced with the manual of arms on that gun.
You don't need to run the bolt this time. Just put a new mag in.
Go. Move.
Does it sometimes come like, I don't know what the word is, untimed or something like that? And you kind of got it. Got it, okay.
Time. Unload and show clear.
This was a particularly fun stage, and a stage where, once again, PCCs really shine and show how much massively better having something with a stock is compared to a pistol. Because I couldn't go through this with a pistol and be terribly successful, which you'll see in my next video. But with the PCC, just churning right through it. So much easier. And you'll see, when I get to my partner's run, they also do quite well running a PCC, particularly being this run you start with the gun, ready to shoot, loaded. All of that manual of arms stuff is taken care of before the timer starts, and starting out with a 30-round magazine, you can get a lot of hits in before having to even interact with the firearm in any way other than pulling the trigger. And they can do that, and the accuracy of that AR-9 worked great for them. Oh, and also, all those red ones, those are no-shoots. Every time you hit one of those, you get an opportunity to shoot that plate up in the corner, and it removes the penalty for the no-shoot. So, I think all but one of my no-shoot hits, I was able to hit that little plate up in the corner and remove the penalty. Yeah, it takes some time, but at least you aren't racking up a ton of penalties. And of course, at the end, there is a moving target. Those are bonuses. think it's a 10-second bonus for each one of those you get. So if you spend 20 seconds getting them, it really doesn't help your score, but it was fun shooting them. I kept going till I got them. Hey, why not? I'm not here to win. I'm here to have an experience.
Should have done unload and show clear. All right. Shooter, are you ready?
I am ready.
Stand by. Take a shot.
Nice.
Take up. Reload.
That's one thing that Kiwi was harp on game, but that was one thing he was very adamant about. He was like, whatever you do, be respectful for the cabin crew, be respectful for the ground crew, before you do everything. That's just Kiwi's MO. Yeah, it's like especially in the cockpit, because ground jam, you know, with the service door, he's like, especially if you go in the doors phase and the service door's open, it's like, don't be talking to me at the ground.
There it is. Move up.
Woo!
There it is. Nice. Unload and show clear.
Down there, but I'll have you make ready from here. So pull out your chamber flag.
This was yet another very fun stage,
And then
and yet another instance where the PCC really works very, very well. Now, you might assume it's always going to work great on anything designed for a pistol.
if you want to
There's some times and a couple stages where it doesn't, and you'll see those a bit later. For this one, we start out to go down there, release the Death Star, let it start spinning, spin the pulse straight rack, run back to the wobbly bridge, stand on that, shoot all the targets. That plate rack there, all the plates in the front are no shoots. You have to shoot the ones in the back row.
It's vertical beam. You'll be holding it that way, and then you're going to go spin that guy Wheel of Fortune style.
Wheel
Or Price is Right.
of Death.
Price is right. The plate rack.
Yeah.
The plate rack is right.
All right. Get ready. Stand by.
Ready.
Over. 101.11. Clean. Clear. Clear. Dry fire. Yeah, does it sound like you still ground in there? Okay.
Did you see the Instagram I shared of the children's box? All right, shooter, are you ready? Stand by.
Now, on my partner's run here, we're going to see yet another example of where lack of familiarity with a gun that you're not experienced with, instead of for someone else, not for you, that you haven't had a chance to play with all the details on it, can bite you on the ass a bit. And that's with the fact that this thing has a lot of bore offset, and it's zeroed at 50 yards, whereas ours was zeroed at 25 yards. So on that plate rack, all those no-shoots in the front, they hit a lot of the no-shoots because they're going point of aim, and it's impacting quite low at this distance. So a bunch of these where you need to shoot just above that front plate, well, they're hitting the plate in front because of that bore offset and the zeroing distance that doesn't match what they're used to. But still, they're pretty good. Got spinner right off the bat,
On that plate rack, aim at the top.
chugging right along. Still a huge advantage to run this with a PCC, even one you've never touched before, versus running a pistol.
There you go. There it is. No range, so clear.
Now this is a really, really fun stage. Just straight up action movie nonsense. Stage is called Hard Boiled, based on a scene from the movie. You have a shotgun slung on your back, a shell in one pocket. You have to run down the hallway. Each stage of hallway that you run down, you have to fire 3 shots. You're not required to hit anything for the 3 shots, but you have to suppress the hallway with 3 shots while moving. And you go into each room, clear all the targets in that room, fire another 3 shots as you go through the hallway. Get down to the end. If you can get all the knockdowns at the end done while you're in the hallway, bonus. If you don't have them all down, finish knocking them down at the end. Then you table your gun, grab that shotgun, put a shell in it, get 1 hit on the big bad guy with a shotgun at the end. Just tons of fun. And still yet another stage where, yes, the PCC is easier. For one thing, when I did it with the pistol, I didn't get any of the knockdowns while I was shooting while moving down the hallway. I got some of this, finished the last of it at the very end, no problem. Tabled it, got the shotgun, got my shotgun hit. Cool.
Hold it back. Shell on the ejection port. Hold it forward. She's done unload and show clear. Okay, I'll take shotgun and clear rifle. And then load ready. All right, shooter, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Stand by. Safety.
You have to go get the duct suit.
Cross down the hallway.
Switch on. Switch back to your right. Switch back to your right.
Right-handed, Danielle.
Reload, and you got one more suppressing shot.
Once again, we see that starting out already loaded is a good way to start when you're running a gun that works great, but you're not really familiar with handling and manipulating. It goes pretty well for them, but then they get to the end, and they get the shotgun out, and
All right, dump it.
they have never even so much as touched a shotgun before, well, now. And really did not quite get how to run a pump shotgun. I mean, it's not that complicated, but on the clock, everything's a bit harder, and then took a few seconds to figure out, and then, oops, out of time, so they didn't get shotgun hit. But hey, this just goes to show how important it is to have practice and be used to handling your equipment. All right, this is the alien stage, where you have to crawl through a set of air ducts, or at least a simulation of a bunch of air ducts. But far worse, you have to start out with a VP-70 and get one hit on a plate. Really, really, really easy shot if it wasn't for the fact that the VP-70 is the worst. You just sit there pulling on that trigger, and it keeps moving and moving, and you just pull harder and harder and harder, and the trigger's still moving. It just goes on forever, and eventually it goes off, and you miss the target. And then again, we get to, this is finally a stage where there's not really an advantage to running a PCC. And if anything, there's a disadvantage, because it's genuinely cumbersome to run the PCC in those air ducts. You're like maneuvering it in and out of those firing ports, and that's not a difficult shooting challenge with a pistol. It just isn't. And the advantage on accuracy isn't really getting you anywhere, because it's so awkward to get behind the sights and to get it in and out of those shooting ports and just maneuver down the hallway without catching it on stuff.
Oh.
All right, there's that VP-70 shot. Like, they're pulling that trigger that entire time, and it finally went off. And then, full Pooh Bear. There it goes. Like I was saying, air ducts, that's the time when a pistol isn't actually an advantage, and we can see that. And you'll see a bunch of places where they're having trouble maneuvering the length of that gun inside these cramped quarters, and yeah, there's that point. PCC isn't 100% always better than the pistol, though it usually is.
You're good. You're good. done, unload and show clear.
Start loaded.
This is the RoboCop stage. You have to get a bunch of hits from various different spots. It's RoboCop stage because you have to hold your weak hand up, over, or on your head throughout all the shooting and shoot the entire thing strong hand only. And I mean, I'm kind of getting it at the beginning, and this is not easy with the PCC, but after a minute, it just goes off the rails completely. It's just my grip strength gives out, and I cannot hold it up and point at the target. It just becomes impossible because I have to really crank down on that grip to hold the thing up. Now, mind you, this thing does have a California fin on it. I didn't go through the effort of de-Californiaing it for the match, and it wasn't a problem other than on this stage. It would have been a much easier grip if it wasn't like that, but it still would have been difficult shooting a PCC, which is just a small rifle, with just one hand. Having said that, you can go see what Sinistral Rifleman did with a PCC on this stage just as a lark, and obviously it can be done by some people, but yeah, Sinistral Rifleman's good and probably has a lot of grip strength. Literally cannot hold the gun up. Trying to hold it up, and it's just literally just falling down. The muscles in my forearm are just cramping up and failing to be able to squeeze that grip because it's just not easy to do and requires an iron grip. What can you do? And this is a very light AR-9, probably an advantage, but you know, they also are smaller and not as strong as me, and they probably got farther with this than they would have had they been using a sub 2000, which is still a light gun, but the California fin isn't helping things. But still, really, really hard to do unless you just have a mountain of grip strength. Now, if you could rest on something, that'd be different, but you can't. The stage is, you have to shoot it standing with just your strong hand. Yeah, there was an attempt to kind of exploit the rules a little bit by looping the sling around the elbow with the hand on top of the head, and helped a little. Wasn't enough. Like, did better with a pistol on the stage. Well, I did at least. And you'll see that.
Two more shots on the big plate. Don't move. Reload. Time.
Yeah, the first shooter did, yeah.
This is a fun stage. One of the few ones that had a good physical challenge built into it, where you have a weighted sled you have to drag. You start out with a single high-value shot at long range here, which should be a giant advantage for the PCC, but I don't get it. Oh well. But then you run up, you have to shoot a series of targets along this, and you have to keep the sled with you as you're shooting them. The first two are very easy to get from right where you start. And you drag it down a bit, shoot the other ones, then finish getting it over the line, shoot a few more targets, then you go back and forth between hits on the dueling tree and the spinner, and then you spin the spinner. Overall, pretty easy for PCC. Some people did shoot one-handed while dragging the sled with a pistol. We've already established that shooting the PCC one-handed is not a good idea at all, and stopping for a second, getting the targets quickly, that's fine. Good solution.
You got this. You still got momentum.
Oh.
Over. Unload and show clear.
Other than that moment.
Be ready.
I'm ready.
Stand by.
Right. So to minimize the number of times you hit the spinner, you shoot the
Move
dual
up.
entry first.
Right.
And we saw that, hey, I'm slow getting the safety on and off because not used to this. But then we also get, dragging a sled is just easier if you're bigger and stronger. And I'm stronger, I can drag a sled faster. They got it. But obviously, something like this is an advantage for stronger people.
Back up a step or two so you don't break the 180. Now go left. 2 hits on each. Right. You can step up to the front of the chain.
Last one to the right.
Right, grab the sled. Almost there, good. All right, you got 3 targets there. All right, good. Over here to the stand, dual entry, so dual entry. Center. Dual entry. Time. Where's the fire?
Shoot all targets.
I can't load
Start loaded.
Yep. Start loading.
Okay, this is just fun. It's not something you normally get a chance to do. You don't get to go to a range day and just do stuff like this. No, we are driving an off-road utility cart and shooting stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm not even sure about, what's the practicality of this, important skill. I don't care. It's just fun.
Ready.
And I mean, yeah, it's a sea of knockdown targets and utility cars. Driving and shooting. What more can we ask for?
That's it. Go left and move. rests right here on the dash. And then foot on the brake. Alright, shooter, are you ready?
Ready.
Stand by. And stop. Stop safe. Drag it.
And there we go. Just another little bit of delay from running a gun they're not familiar with. And there's harder to get the magazines in with the way that thing feeds versus a rifle magazine, even in the similar AR. But hey, I think overall they probably did a little bit better than this than they would have with Sub 2000 because it is a better shooting gun. It is a bit more accurate than the Sub 2000. It has a top-notch match trigger as opposed to a trigger that is, I mean, functional at best with the Sub 2000. But hey, it worked well. And a bit more practice, they probably would have done a lot better than this with this gun than they would have with the Sub 2000. But Sub 2000 worked good. Like, it's a really cheap gun. It worked quite well. It's small. It's light. It ran reliably the entire time. No problem. And also, just keeping my mags in my pocket, barely caused any delays at all. You know, maybe it's like adding a half second to a reload. Sure, if you're like top-notch competitor, that's gonna matter. But you know, in general, for most people, it's just not critical to have the best top-notch, super-duper tactical gear. And here we have, running through Handgun Brutality, no problems.